If you're thinking about upsizing your home, then this video is for you. If you're considering upsizing your home, then you're not alone. Many homeowners in Oakville find themselves needing more space, whether it's a growing family, the need for a home office, or simply a better layout that fits their lifestyle. But upsizing isn't just about finding a bigger house. It's about making a move that aligns with your long-term plans, financial situation, and the realities of the housing market. Oakville has changed significantly over the years, with new developments, shifting property values, and evolving neighborhood dynamics. Understanding these changes is a key to making an informed decision. My name is Isam Nadeem, and I have lived in Oakville for over 15 years. I have watched this town grow and have helped many families navigate through the upsizing process thoughtfully. In this guide, we're going to cover everything that you need to know before making the move, from financial implications to choosing the right neighborhood and managing that transition smoothly. Starting off with a key question: why are you upsizing? Before you start searching for a bigger home, ask yourself, why do you need more space? I've made a list of the 5 most common responses that I usually get from clients. It could be due to a growing family, you need more bedrooms or more space. You may be having a family member moving in or aging parents moving in with you, so multi-generational living. Or ever since COVID, we have had remote or hybrid work come into place. So you may need a home office or just a space for you to be able to work out of in the house. Number 4 is lifestyle upgrades. So as you progress in your career, you may be looking to get a bigger home for entertaining, or a bigger backyard for the kids to play in, for the dog to run around, or just for hosting. It is quite common for many people to upsize along with their career to get a home that matches the lifestyle that they're living, or just to be in more prestigious or nicer neighborhoods. Lastly is investment or long-term value. So many people look to upsize because they want to get into an area with strong appreciation potential. They like to get in and really capitalize on that opportunity for years or later down the road. One thing is for certain, regardless of which reason it is that you may be looking to upsize, if it's one of the 5 that I've mentioned, or another personal reason that you may have, the one thing that is very important is that it requires careful planning. For example, if you're looking to upsize due to a work from home need where you're working a hybrid or a remote job, a well-designed office space may be more important to you than additional square footage in this next home. If your reason is family growth, then proximity to good schools and parks may be more important than just adding additional square footage. This is why it's very important for you to take your time to define exactly what you need to avoid paying for additional unnecessary space. What are the financial realities for upsizing? Now, buying a bigger home comes with a long-term financial commitment, and this goes beyond just the purchase price of the house. Let's break down the major costs so you understand exactly what costs that you will have to take into consideration when making this upsizing move happen. First up is mortgage consideration. So the mortgage is the biggest factor in this entire decision. And there are 3 major questions that you should be asking yourself. First one, can you afford higher monthly payments without sacrificing your other financial goals? Number 2, if you don't have the down payment, do you have enough equity in your current home to use as a down payment towards this upsizing move? And number 3, have you checked your borrowing capacity with the rising interest rates? During COVID times, interest rates were at an all-time low, and many people had entered the market or had upsized during that time period, not realizing that the interest rates were going to be going up in the next couple of years. And due to the rates rising, they were unable to make their mortgage payments because they were on a variable rate, or they realized that by the term their current term ends with their mortgage, they won't be able to qualify for the rate, or they may not be able to manage with the new monthly payments when they have a new rate that's at 4% as to a 2.2%. So really take into consideration how much you can afford or how much your borrowing capacity will be with the rates. And then the next 3 items are Additional costs, these are ongoing costs that you want to take into consideration. So now that you know about the mortgage, you want to take into consideration property taxes and insurance. Different neighborhoods in Oakville have varying property taxes. Understand that when you're upsizing into a bigger home, usually your property taxes and your insurance premiums are increasing. So make sure you factor those costs in with this upsizing move. Then you also have your utilities and maintenance. Heating and cooling in a larger home usually tends to cost more money. And then those tedious tasks that none of us like to do, such as mowing the lawn or shoveling the snow, or just general repairs and upkeep around the house, require more time and more money. And then lastly, when making this upsizing move, there are some hidden costs that you may not be aware of. You have your land transfer tax, you have your legal fees that you'll be paying, a home inspection to inspect the home that you'll be purchasing, and then that one expense that we all try to avoid by asking our friends to help with instead of just calling movers are moving expenses. If you're purchasing a bigger home, your current furniture may not fit or may not be the right size for this new home. So you may consider buying new furniture, or the one thing all our wives love to do, which is buy more decor and decorate the place to what they like it to be. So the bottom line when it comes to financial realities is make sure to budget properly and take all these factors into consideration. You want to do this before making the move, not afterwards, because this will save you a lot of stress and headaches. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, I want to make this move happen, but I don't have the down payment that's needed to make this upsizing move. Well, you may be wrong there, because if you've been living in your home for quite some time, you'll have something called equity. And if you've built equity in your current home, you may be able to leverage that in order to make this upsizing move. So starting off, what is equity? Well, equity is the difference between your home's current market value and what you owe on the mortgage. The difference between the two is the equity or the profit that you have available to you in order to make this move. And if you're already residing within Oakville, home prices have risen significantly over the past decade. So you may have quite a bit of equity in your current home that you may not be aware of. So you can use this equity in multiple ways. There are three methods I usually inform my clients about. The first one is usually what I lean towards and what I recommend, but you do have the other two available to you as well, along with others that you may have heard of. So the first one is sell first and then buy. This is as simple and straightforward as it can be. You sell your current home and then you take the profit that you or the equity that you got from your existing home and use that money as a down payment towards your next home. Now, it's a very simple process. The great thing about it is you only have one mortgage at a time, so you don't really have to worry. But the challenge that you may face, especially in today's market, is that the closing of the home that you're selling and of you buying the new home may not line up at the same date. So you may have to find temporary housing for a couple of weeks or months. It really depends on the situation. But if that's the worst case scenario, I think it's a good sign, because you don't have to worry about that bigger headache of having two mortgages to pay for at the same time. So the second option is using your HELOC. HELOC stands for your home equity line of credit. Your HELOC allows you to borrow your home's value without having to sell it first. So if there's a home that comes onto the market that you really like and you want to purchase it, but you don't have the down payment or the deposit needed, you can use your HELOC to purchase that home, but then you do have steady payments that you'll have to make on your HELOC to pay it back. And you'll also have to sell your home before you move into that next home. But the issue you may run into there is, what if you don't sell your current home before you move into that next home? Then you'll have two mortgages in your hand along with the HELOC that you have as well. It sounds great because you can get into that next home, but the bigger issue, especially today, that many sellers are finding is that since it is a buyer's market in this current time that we're filming this, they're having a hard time selling their home, which means that buyers have the upper hand. And if you're not able to sell your home before you get into your next home, then that could lead to you being a very motivated seller, meaning you'll end up selling your home for less than what you could have potentially gotten it for, or just additional stress for those months that you're trying to sell your home. And the third option is refinance. Refinance basically means that you're able to pull out the equity out of your home for a bigger mortgage. And then you could use that money, the equity that you pulled out, the cash that you have in hand, as a down payment towards the next home. So now your current mortgage will most likely increase if rates have increased. That means that you will have higher payments, but you'll be able to use the money that you've taken out in order to purchase the next home. Some home buyers like to use this method because they don't want to sell their existing home. They like to rent it out so they have an investment property, and then they move into the home that they actually want to be in. This way they have two homes at the same time. Now, depending on what your financial goals or your long-term goals are, this can work out great, or it may not be right for you. So that's why these are the three options I usually lay out to my clients. Next up is understand Oakville's market. The Oakville real estate market is diverse. You have different price points depending on which neighborhood you're looking at, whether you're looking at the south by the lake, or if you're looking at the north of Dundas, which is more newer development. And then each area also has a different level of demand depending on what it is that you're looking for. But here's some key market considerations that I believe that you should take into consideration if you're looking to make this upsizing move. So first up is a seller's market or a buyer's market. Are you in a seller's market or a buyer's market? Now, in a seller's market, sellers have the advantage. In a buyer's market, buyers have the advantage. Now, each have their own pros and cons, but what I usually recommend is that you do both transactions simultaneously so that you're in the same market cycle. You know exactly what factors are in play. If you wait for the next cycle, so if you, let's say you buy a home in the spring market and then you try to sell your home in the summer market, there are different factors in play. A lot of people like to go away in the summer, so you may not have as many buyers in the market that are active, while in the spring market there tend to be a lot more buyers. So each market cycle has its own advantages and disadvantages, and it's important for you to understand the difference between the two. But you want to know whether you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. Like I said, I recommend doing both at the same time so you know exactly what factors are facing both areas. But in today's market, for example, I usually advise that you do try to sell first, because it is much harder to sell your property with the high level of inventory and low sales, where you could find a home for yourself much easier as opposed to you trying to sell your home. Unless you price it correctly, then it can take some time. And then depending on which neighborhood you're looking at, whether you're looking at Joshua Creek or you're looking at Bronte or West Oakville or the neighborhood I live in, Glenarchy, each one has different trends and each neighborhood has its own popularity for different reasons. Like Joshua Creek is really well known for great schools like Joshua Creek Elementary School. You have Iroquois Ridge High School. And then you also have areas like Glenarchy, which is really nice because it's accessible to everything you want to be at. You're very close by the hospital. You have the 407 nearby as well. The homes there are newer, so you do get the 9 feet or the 10 feet ceilings, something that might be a little bit difficult to find in an area like Joshua Creek, where it is a bit older or more developed or more mature. And it's not to say that you can't find homes like that. It might be that the homes were renovated, but then they ask for a premium in order for you to live in that neighborhood, but then also have these criteria on your list that you're looking for. And then the next thing you want to take into consideration is, what is the long-term appreciation potential of different neighborhoods? Generally, the closer you are to the lake, the higher the appreciation on your property, just because it's a more desirable area to be. People like being by the water. I love being by the water. I think it just makes my mood much better. Imagine waking up and having the lake right by your house, just steps away. It's a great way to start your morning, where you can go for a walk. It just impacts your mood altogether. So values by the lake tend to cost more money, and they tend to appreciate faster than homes that are in the north side, for example, where I am currently in Glenarchy. And it's not to say that homes here don't appreciate, they just don't appreciate as fast as desirable neighborhoods like Morrison or Old Oakville or Bronte or Southwest Oakville. So different neighborhoods within the south side of Oakville. Lastly, you want to ask yourself, how long does it take to sell a home in your current neighborhood? So the reason why you want to know that is because if you're not living in Oakville, for example, or even if you are living in Oakville, it's important for you to know exactly how long it takes for your home to sell, so that you know how to time your move. So I'll give you an example. So currently I'm working with clients right now who grew up in Oakville, but purchased their first home in Hamilton because that's what they could afford at that time. And after living in that home for about 5, 6 years, they've had their first child. They're looking to make that move back to Oakville so they can be closer to family to get that help or that support that they may need with both husband and wife going back to work in a couple of months. So we listed their home for sale, and on average, it would take about 61 days for a home to sell in the specific neighborhood that they lived in, Upper Mountain in Hamilton. We were successfully able to sell their home within 26 days because we priced it correctly. And they're very happy that they chose to price their home correctly, even though it's a bit less than what they wanted. But this has now given them the opportunity to start looking at homes in Oakville. Now they're not going to be stressed about how much they can actually afford to move back here. So we've sold their home, it's sold firm, and the closing is supposed to be in the next 2 months. So they have 2 months to find their next home. And if they don't find that home right away, they do have the ability to go live with family for a couple of weeks or months. But the goal is to get them a place that has a closing date that aligns with the sale of their current home. So knowing exactly how long it takes for you to sell a home in your current market will just allow you to line up things better for the move that you are trying to make. Now we'll be going over the 4 best neighborhoods to upsize to in Oakville. First up on our list is Joshua Creek. Joshua Creek is a well-established neighborhood. It's in high demand. It's right at the border of Mississauga and Oakville. And the really nice thing is you have access to the QEW, the 407, and the 403. So you have access to 3 different highways. You also have access to Oakville Go or the Clarkson Go as well. Joshua Creek is very well known for its great schools. It's got family-friendly atmosphere, and it's always in high demand. The neighborhood is also very well known for great schools. It has a mature atmosphere, and homes in this neighborhood tend to hold their values very strong. This neighborhood's always in high demand, and the homes are very decent size. You have big lots. Many of them have been renovated, or some have actually been torn down and custom homes have been built. But it is, I would say, one of the most desirable neighborhoods to live in all of Oakville. And then next up is Bronte. Bronte is on the southwest side of Oakville. So you're at the border of Burlington and Oakville. It's a very desirable neighborhood. You have lakeside living with a mixture of older homes and newer homes. It's home to the Bronte Harbor. You have waterfront trails and charming shops and some great restaurants there as well. One of my favorite is the coffee shop Peach Coffee that's there. And then there's a really good restaurant called Coochie, or also Porvita if you like tacos. This neighborhood tends to hold strong appreciation values, especially since a lot of the properties are right by the lake. And then it's also very desirable by builders or investors or just people who are looking to get bigger lot sizes and build custom homes. So there are many families that will buy the lot and then build their dream home there. So it's a very desirable neighborhood altogether. You do get a mix of it, although there are condominiums there. You have newer townhomes there. You have older homes, so you have raised bungalows, side splits. I personally am a really big fan of those older style homes that are renovated. I feel like they give a lot more character. But then you also have the bigger homes with the 10 feet ceilings as well. So you really get a mix of it all within this neighborhood. Number 3 on the list is West Oakville. West Oakville is right next to Bronte, so it offers the similar atmosphere. You're not as close to the lake, but you are still close enough to still be around that atmosphere. So you get a mix of it all here as well. You get custom homes, you get older homes, you get bigger lot sizes. You get a mix of it all depending on what it is that you're looking for. The one really nice thing is it is a bit quieter, so if you are looking to be close by the lake, but you don't want to be as busy, it is a great alternative. And the big selling point for this neighborhood really is the attractive lot sizes that it's just too hard to find, especially with all the newer development happening on the north side. It's very difficult to find lots that are bigger than 50 feet wide. So you get to have those bigger lots, you have great schools, you get to be close by downtown. It's close enough to downtown Bronte as well as downtown Oakville, but without having to sacrifice the busyness You don't have to be around all of that. So it's a good trade-off. And then lastly is the neighborhood that I reside in, which is Glenarchy. So it is on the north side of Oakville. It's right by Neagawa and Dundas to 6th Line. Actually, it goes all the way to Trafalgar and Dundas. This area really has a mix of it all. You have detached homes, you have townhomes, and over the past couple of years, we have had condominiums going up as well. There are low-rise condominium buildings, mainly along Dundas. The one really attractive thing about this neighborhood is it's very close by to Mississauga. You have the 407 that's still very accessible right off Neagawa or off Trafalgar as well. You're also close by Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital, and they had the new 16-mile sports complex being built. It's going to be incredible. It's still being worked on as we speak. They're doing a lot to it, where they're adding a new library. They're going to have basketball courts. They've already finished the cricket field, soccer field, skate park. So they're really trying to build a central hub. There's already 4 indoor ice rinks that are being used. So there's really a lot to offer within this neighborhood. In terms of housing, a lot of them are newer homes that were built. They started building in 2010, but there's still ongoing development. A lot of these homes have the 9 feet or 10 feet ceilings. That's pretty standard around here. So that's very attractive. Many people like that openness. It makes the house feel a lot bigger. But the downside is, because of the newer development and the need to build as many housing as possible, it's harder to find homes that have massive lot sizes. So what I mean by that is it's difficult to find homes that are bigger than 50 feet wide lots. Most of the time, because of that desirability to have bigger home, but there isn't that much land here remaining. So your homes do tend to be a bit close to one another. But overall, it is a very desirable neighborhood, and you'll find it to be very family friendly, because that's primarily the type of people or the demographics that are living here. And like I said, if you have kids, that the 16-mile sports complex is going to be a central hub, and you're going to absolutely love having it close by the home for your kids to go to, because they'll have a safe place for them to go hang out with friends, or just do activities together as a family. If it's playing soccer or walking trails, all of it will be very convenient and nearby. Upsizing is about more than just buying a bigger house. It's about making a move that enhances your life without creating unnecessary financial stress. By defining your needs, setting a clear budget, understanding the market, and timing your move properly, you can make a smart and informed decision and really make this upsizing move come to reality. If you'd like more information, I've emailed you a PDF that goes in more in-depth information regarding upsizing. It'll go over all the key information that you need to know. And I also go into the 4 neighborhoods I talked about in much more detail. And if you are thinking about upsizing but aren't sure where to start, or need some guidance, I'd be more than happy to be that guide and to help you with this upsizing journey. You can email me, you can book a Calendly call down below, or give me a call, whatever is convenient for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this guide helpful.